Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 483 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our fifth book just came out. It's called Perseverance and How to Be a Great Fraternity or Sorority Alumnus. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I will never forget my first trip to USC's campus. USC was playing football against the University of Oregon, and there was tailgating happening on campus. One of the students had a keg of beer that he was bringing onto campus for the tailgate, and he had it rolling on a skateboard in order to transport this keg onto campus. We all started laughing hysterically, and we went on to watch a fantastic football game unlike any other stadium on the planet. So, speaking of USC, let's talk to our next guest. Lydia Gascón Samaniego is the author of To Hell With You, an adventure through tragedy, love, betrayal, and transformation. Lydia is a woman of hope who believes anything can be overcome. She is a teacher, a yoga instructor, an energy worker, a sound bath practitioner, and life coach. She has a BA from USC and also her master's degree from the University de Salamanca in Spain. Lydia is the mother of 4 young men and lives in the Sierra Nevada mountains near Lake Tahoe, California. Lydia enjoys time with her family and friends, dancing, singing, hiking, gardening, natural medicine, the great outdoors, and of course, human potential. Welcome to the show, Lydia.
Aw, thank you. Thank you for having me, Michael. Such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it is an honor to have you on the show. I think it's just you've done amazing work over your career, and obviously just raising 4 young men right away, you're immediately qualified to come and speak on the Fraternity Foodie Podcast, because you know what it's like working with young talent today and Gen Z students. So that has a lot to do with why you're on the show today. So I appreciate you being here. And you decided on the University of Southern California for your undergraduate experience. Tell our audience, why did you choose USC?
Oh, thank you. I will. 4 reasons, 3 or 4. Let's see. 1, I wanted to have a university that had a huge football team and had all that spirit because I just loved that. And second, I wanted a school that would allow me to go study abroad my freshman year, and USC let me do that.
Mhm.
Third was that I wanted to be part of the dance team, the USC dance team, and I was a part of that. And my fourth one that didn't come to fruition was I wanted desperately to be a part of a sorority, because the fraternity and sorority scene at USC is amazing. And that didn't come to fruition, but yeah, it
Hey,
was a great
listen,
experience.
it's never too late. There's a lot of sorority women that are listening right now that would love to have you initiated into their sorority. So
Oh,
never
no
give up
way.
hope. Yeah,
Oh, that would be
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, we
I'm
do.
open, man.
Yeah, we do alumni initiations all the time for people that help out the fraternity and sorority community. And, I know a lot of people that have just amazing, amazing experiences with alumni initiations and being a part of it as an adult. And so never give up hope so that dream can come true. And USC is just an amazing place. I mean, watching a
It
football
is.
game at USC is like an experience unlike anything else that I've ever felt in my life.
Truly amazing. Yes. Yes. The energy is just phenomenal. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I mean, you just have to go there and be a part of
Hmm.
that tailgating and the game and the atmosphere. I mean, if you don't feel something after a football game at USC, then you might not be alive, because I don't know what to tell you. You have no pulse.
Agreed. Agreed.
So tell
Yeah.
our audience about your new book. It's called To Hell With You, An Adventure Through Tragedy, Love, Betrayal, and Transformation. What made you want to write this book?
Well, I went through some really dark times in my life, and I just wanted to show people that no matter how dark or deep you go into despair, there is hope and you can get out. And I wanted to show that through my story. So
Wow.
I want to help people, you know?
Well, tell us a little bit about that story. I mean, what happened?
Well, Michael, my life has unfolded in a very unbelievable way in that, you know, we started out, as most people do, asking those questions about what's life all about, and, you know, how do we get the most out of this time here? And, we set out, my ex and I, on this idea, and we found hell instead and complete ruin. But had I given up at that point, I would have been bitter, I would have been jaded, and I would have this energy exude from me that would not be complimentary. But I didn't. I kept pushing, I kept persisting, I kept insisting that there had to be answers. And lo and behold, if you keep pushing, because underneath the ruin is love. And it shows you that there are ways that we can live with this life that we're given to get the most out of it.
Hmm. Okay, so I mean, listen, we've all had disappointments in our life one way or the other. So how do we turn these failures in life into essentially freedom? I mean, how do you turn things around?
Well, first of all, we have to look at failure as something different.
Hmm.
One, when you say failure, unrealized dreams, disappointment, there's negativity behind it. But if you change it and say, okay, I didn't realize a dream, this didn't work out, but what did I learn? What did it show me about me? What did it show me about the situation? If you start examining and changing the question, the viewpoint from which you hit it, it changes the outcome. And so when you gather that information, it tells you a lot about yourself. And then you start going, oh, well, maybe I really didn't want that. Oh, but you know what? I was just thinking that you realize that, oh, that was just conditioning. I didn't really want that. I was told I wanted that, but really, if I examine this, this is what I really want, you know. And if you start looking at that, then when you come across these unrealized dreams, these disappointments, these things come, and you start being grateful for it, because you're like, oh, I know more about me that can show me on my path, not my parents' path, not my professor's path, not, what people expect of me path, but my path.
Hmm.
So it is an interior look, a focus within, but it does really lead to freedom if you change the way you look at failure, disappointment, or unrealized dreams.
That is so
Because,
interesting. I mean,
yeah.
obviously you had a bad experience in love, right? And this, do you feel that young love is foolish? Should we not even try when we're young?
Oh, no, hell no. Oh, no. Everyone wants that love that just knocks your socks off, that changes your world upside down, that moves you, that person moves you in a way that you never thought possible. Oh, no, no. And the problem is that when we've been hurt when we were young, for whatever reason, we think, oh, no, no, I'm never going to, we can become jaded,
Hmm.
and we don't look as open as before at it. And I think it's what we all really want. We want to love in that way, that innocent way, in that whole way. But it doesn't have to be innocent in a way that is stupid. It just is, a way that's real and full of life.
Hmm.
Because having loved that way when I was young, I mean, I felt alive in such a way that I am so grateful for it, even though it was tragic. But it's like, what, I felt things, and I realized things, that the earth is more than what we see and what we can touch. It is far more energetic, and it has so much love and life to give us. But we have to be open like a child and not become jaded.
Yeah. That's a really very good, wise, mature way of looking at it, Yeah, obviously I've been in relationships in the past that haven't worked out for one reason or another. There's various reasons why these things fall apart. But I think
Right.
I've learned from each one of them, and have taken that forward. And I don't think I regret any of those relationships. I think, they all taught me something about myself and what it was that I was looking for. If this is not the right person, then okay, I understand now that I can't repeat that and I need to find something different. And this is what I'm really looking for. And so, it's kind of that trial and error thing. But But they were all wonderful. And yeah, you get those feelings of like just euphoria when it's first happening. And that's a beautiful, wonderful thing to experience in life. So would I want to take that away? No, those feelings were wonderful, you know? And so it is interesting to kind of look back at it and just wonder, why these things happened or why they did work out or didn't work out. But it's all part of the journey, I guess. Really interesting stuff. One of the things that I have a difficult time with is just forgiving other people. It's hard for me to do that. How do you suggest that we actually get to a place of forgiveness instead of carrying around all that weight with us for our entire lives?
Oh, that's a really good question. I had the same problem, and I do. And what was huge and revelation to me was that forgiveness, when we do not let go, we're not letting go of our own forgiveness. So what we give, whether it's forgiveness or not forgiveness, we're doing it right back at ourselves. And the thing is, with forgiveness, people think that, oh, somebody offended me, so then I need to forgive them and let go. But the reality is that we are all connected, so that when we do not let it go, you're just killing your own self. And that's how deeply connected we all are. And so for starters, I mean, I had to look at me and just like, okay, what happened, and admit it, and admit the feelings that I had, admit the resentment, the anger, the hatred, whatever I had. Be honest, because only being honest can you really start to let it go. And then when I started doing that, I started realizing that, oh my goodness, this is something energetically happening here. And then I did this experiment. I started blessing people under my breath whenever I met them. If I met a couple, I would bless them. If they had kids, I'd bless their family, or bless this person walking across the street, or whatever I felt at the moment when I saw them. Or if they were upset and angry and bad mood, I would do something kinder than normal to see what would happen. And every time their energy changed. And then there were sometimes with people, they with bad juju, they're like, oh, I don't want to bless them. I don't want to do that. But then, and I wouldn't. And then I'd realize, and then I would feel energetically later, it's like, ooh, that bad stuff that I didn't want to, change to good for that person came right back at me. And I thought that was very interesting because I became more attuned to the effect of what forgiveness does, because it's me and the person, and we're the same.
Mm,
It comes right back at us.
I
Very
love it.
interesting.
That is very interesting. And I tell you what, I'll take all the blessings that you have to give. I feel like if you want to give me blessings, please send it my way.
I am throwing them all your way right now, Michael.
I
All
will
of it.
gladly accept them.
Oh, yes.
You also talk about gratitude, which I think is super, super important for us to just sit and understand all the good things that are happening instead of focusing about all the negative things, which is real easy to do. Instead, change that mindset and basically just talk about and verbalize and think about all the things that you are grateful for. And I think if we do that, it completely can change your outlook for the day. So, what exactly does gratitude mean for you?
I think basically gratitude is an energetic choice,
Mhm.
because it's really easy to be grateful when everything is peachy, right?
Right.
But it's certainly another thing when life is pressing up against us and it does not feel good. And that is when, like when you go to the gym, you work out, when you go do anything, it's a practice. And that's when energetically you have to make a choice. Am I going to find a good here? Even though it hurts like hell and I don't want to? It's a choice at that point. And then when you do make that choice and you do it, honestly, things start energetically happening and eyes start opening, not your real eyes, but sense.
Mhm.
And so it's a practice. It's an energetic choice that you make on a daily basis, on a moment to moment basis. That's not always perfect, right? But
Mhm.
just like working out, you don't always do it perfectly. But yeah. So, and like you said, I agree with you totally. It changes everything.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
we all, yeah. Sorry.
that's okay. No, I like how you're framing it up. That really it's a choice that we all have to make each morning as we wake up. Either we're going to be grateful for all the wonderful opportunities that we're being given, that we have, a safe place to sleep, we have food on the table, that we had some good rest the night before, and that we have opportunity waiting for us today. And so either we choose to embrace that, or we can talk about all the negative things that are going on in our life. But ultimately, the choice is ours.
Well, here's another thing too. So I have four boys, right? And they're
Yeah.
young and they're going through life. And so, and when things are bad, they call me up and they say, Mom, this is that and that, whatever. And I say, okay. And okay, this is where the practice happens. What can you find when you cannot be grateful for one thing? Let's try to find it. Let's go through it and let's pick it out and then start with that little tiny seed, because that is where, because like I said before, when everything's peachy, it's easy, but when everything is hard and that's when you have to start kind of dissecting and pulling them out and then hanging your hat on that one. And then another one comes up, and yeah, and then it starts changing and you see the power of your own choice and the power of your own will and your own reason as a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah. How old are your boys, Lydia?
My youngest is 19, my oldest is 30.
That's
So
fantastic. Man, that must be just really amazing to be able to just, work with them each day and find out how they're doing and just kind of be that support for them as they're finding their way throughout life. And, I wonder about like manifestation, sometimes we want to manifest good things in our life and maybe we're manifesting, I don't know, a certain amount of income or something like that in our life. But why does manifestation not always work?
well, here's the thing, it does always work, but people don't realize that what you really manifest is who you are,
Mm,
not what you want. For example, if you want a Mercedes Benz and you think it's really great and you go, yeah, I want a Mercedes Benz, you think about it, but in deep in your heart, you really don't believe that you deserve it or that you can have it or whatever, all those things, that is really who you really are. So you will never get that Mercedes Benz. Doesn't matter how much time you think about it, how much time, unless you change the the attitude behind it and or who you are or realizing who you are. Like, I can have everything I want, but then that goes into a deeper conversation, because how come people have these blocks? How come people have these doubts about what they can and cannot have? And that's a deeper conversation, but it stems from who you are, and who you are is a deep-seated belief of repeated story that you tell yourself, and it
mm,
comes from your conditioning, from your upbringing, from your cultures, from society. It comes from all those different angles that become your deep-seated beliefs.
I like that. All right. So manifestation is about who you are, not what you want. Really, really interesting stuff. Something for me to chew on for the next week or so as I think about that. I also read that you believe that nothing is as attractive as living your excitement. What exactly did you mean by that?
Well, for instance, when you find somebody who is just glowing and living their passion, and there's no excuses that they give for being themselves, there's a certain force, there's a certain power, there's a certain attraction that you have towards this person. And that's what happens. They attract people, they attract good things, they attract life circumstances, they attract all these things. So it's attractive in so many different ways. And it comes to the people who are truly living the person that they were meant to be. And uh
Mhm.
and that's not always easy. So but when you find that, there is nothing more beautiful and more attractive than that.
Mhm. I agree with you completely. I try to live in that zone of doing exactly what God put me on this earth to do, which is ultimately working with college students and making fraternity and sorority a safer place. I know that now, and and when I'm in that zone, I mean, everybody in the room can feel it, no matter how many thousands of students I'm in front of. Like they know that what I'm saying is authentically who I am, that it's not something that's forced or something that I'm faking. No, like they can see it and sense it and feel it. And so that's really cool when I'm in that zone, but understand that it's a continuum, meaning that sometimes I wake up and I don't have coffee. And I'm really tired because I stayed up late last night binge watching some show on Netflix. So now I'm waking up and I'm tired and I need coffee, right? And so I
Right.
need a cup of coffee to get my brain going to try to get back into that zone. But just understand that it moves back and forth. We're not always going to be in that zone, depending on what's happening to us at that particular time. So, Maslow's hierarchy is kind of that explanation of what our needs are and ultimately what we all need as humans in order to achieve our greatest potential, which is at the top of Maslow's hierarchy. So it's something for our listeners to go and look at. But certainly, when we're talking about fraternity and sorority, that gives us love and belonging. So in order to get to that point that you're talking about, we all need love and belonging. We can't get there unless we have that in some sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's something, to consider. And I think that's where fraternity and sorority comes in. It gives, especially new students, the love and belonging that they need in order to get to where they want to go. And that's one of the reasons why I love fraternity and sorority so much. So speaking of fraternity and sorority.
Well, I agree. I agree. And maybe I will get inducted later in
Awesome.
life. That would be awesome.
You can totally do it. Never give up. I keep working with fraternity and sorority members, and you know what? One day, just let them know. Say, hey, I'd love to be in a sorority, and when you say that, they will understand. They will understand the assignment, and they will make sure that you do get initiated into their organization. So yeah, never give up hope. Just because it didn't happen for you as an undergrad doesn't mean that it wasn't meant to be. It just means it didn't happen then. And so
I
sometimes
like that.
people, yeah, sometimes people have just amazing careers in fraternity and sorority life, and it happens just later in life for them, and that's okay. Not everybody happens on the same, time,
Right.
situation. Sometimes things that just take longer to ripen, and that's okay. That's totally fine. So yeah, so I'm here to tell you, don't give up on that because there is definitely sororities and organizations out there that could really use your expertise, and they would love to have you as a member. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
Oh, yeah. And if you know anybody, let them know about me.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're going to get a flood of emails. Now everyone's going to be on your website and they're going to be sending you all kinds of emails about working with you. So
That'd be awesome. Be my honor. And be
now my weakness is good food. Okay. I love good food. This is like what I'm all about. So if I'm looking for a great meal, let's say in Lake Tahoe or maybe Sacramento, where should I be going for a great meal?
hmm. Well, in Lake Tahoe, there is a place called The Getaway. It is a brunch place, and you get there early because there's always a line, and they pride themselves that they make their food from scratch.
Oh, nice.
And seriously, it is really good, but it's nothing fancy, but it is always packed, and the food is always good, and the owners are great. So if you want a good brunch, when you're in South Lake Tahoe, it's actually in Myers, which is
Uh-huh.
just below the summit of South Lake.
Uh-huh.
Go there. And it's kind of it's breakfast food, but it's got a mix of with a Mexican flair.
I love it. That sounds really, really good. The Getaway, right? All right. We're
Getaway.
definitely going to go check that out. That sounds absolutely amazing. I love supporting, some of these local restaurants in, these towns because, COVID was so brutal on so many of these restaurants and so many of them closed. And I started thinking about, okay, how can we help these restaurants to stay in business? Because I want to keep coming back to them. And when I travel the country, I want to stop in and get that experience. So I said, all right, we're going to ask every person on this interview, what is your favorite place to go eat? We'll get them some additional new business, and that'll give me some great recommendations. The next time I'm in Lake Tahoe, I know where to go. So I'm very excited.
Yay.
All right. So if our listeners, if they want to go and buy your book, of course, the name of the book is To Hell With You, An Adventure Through Tragedy, Love, Betrayal, and Transformation. Where should they go in order to get the book and maybe connect with you?
It's on Amazon. So Amazon, you can just plug in either my name or the name of the book and get it there. And if you want to connect with me online, my website is lydiasamaniego.com, and you can email me there, and yeah, and we can be connected. And you can also be connected and follow me on Amazon. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So it's lydiasamaniego.com, and I'll spell that for you. It's Lydia, Lydia. The last name is Samaniego. IEGO.com. Go to lydiasamaniego.com and go and pick up the book, To Hell With You, An Adventure Through Tragedy, Love, Betrayal, and Transformation. This has been absolutely fantastic. It's so great just spending some time with you, Lydia. So thank you for sharing all this great information with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Michael. It's been so much fun. You're
Well,
amazing.
good.
I love what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Lydia, I want you to like it and I want you to share it with other college students that also need some of these amazing words from Lydia. And we hope to see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.